Hi, Brian. Most interesting idea I've heard today at Davos has to do with globalization. I think that so many folks that are here are thinking about how globalization is changing. I mean, the World Economic Forum for the last 40 years has really been the sort of archetype of the international promoter of globalization. But when we think about it, it's like the world's getting closer, and yet, of course, that's really not what's happening. What's really happened with globalization is the West. Countries in the West, multinational corporations in the West have reached out to multinational corporations. They've reached out to consumers. They've reached out to laborers, and they've brought that labor, their manufactured goods, they brought profits. They brought those countries closer to the West. It's been a process, really, of the West reaching out and bringing back. And I think what's so interesting about this year, the economy is coming back. The world is clearly doing better. People feel a lot more confident and comfortable about where the world economy is heading and how they're doing personally. And yet, the West's notion of globalization, and to be very clear, it's still very much primarily the West that's represented at this year's forum, is no longer the way globalization is actually proceeding. Globalization is increasingly about all sorts of countries around the world doing their own forms of international outreach, and some of that is to the advanced economies. A lot of it is to their own regions, and a lot of that is to other developing countries, and that's really changing the nature. Since globalization, which had been on one track around the world that was very much found here at the World Economic Forum, is now on a couple of different tracks, and the track that's represented here is increasingly not the track that we see in so many other countries. And I think that's causing, despite all of the upbeat optimism about the world economy, it's against a backdrop of uncertainty and unease, and I don't think we're getting rid of that anytime soon. Thanks a lot for your question. Hope it was interesting. Bye.